Hi friends, thanks for deciding to spend some time with me. If you're new, welcome. Why don't you go down there, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any episodes. For my fans and subscribers, welcome back. I really do appreciate you. Today's topic is new settlers in New England. This is part of the Connecticut witch trials. Not much else to say. Let's get on with the video. You may be wondering to yourselves why I'm going into the background of these people. It is important to understand the political, social, and cultural aspects of a people in order to understand what was happening at that time, especially when you're talking about things such as the witch trials. In 1635, the newly found settlement of Windsor, Connecticut executed the first witch in the English New World colonies. Some unique circumstances led to this first execution, which will be explored in this video. The core group of settlers in Windsor came mostly from southwest counties in England, Dorset, Somerset, and Devon. Even though these immigrants were organized by the Massachusetts Bay Company, they set sail for New England from Plymouth, not Southampton like the Winthrop group. They named their first settlement in Massachusetts Dorchester, after the town most of them came from. They also named their second settlement in Connecticut Dorchester, but soon changed the name to Windsor. These immigrants sailed from England in March of 1630 with 50 heads of family, followed by ships sailing to Dorchester in Massachusetts. Many families would settle in Windsor, Connecticut, along with the Reverend John Warham and prominent citizen Henry Wolcott. Wolcott was a clothier who had previously been to New England in 1628 and was determined to settle there. Other important passengers were on the ship, and together they founded Windsor, Connecticut. For the most part, these immigrants were related by marriage. Although some may have seen this as an economic opportunity, it seems that most of these people had a strong religious motive. Some may have started out as strangers, but by the time they reached New England, they had forged strong bonds with each other. They would have built a strong bond due to shared culture and beliefs, due to the fact that most of these people came from 3 counties in England. This was not the case for those sailing to Massachusetts in the Winthrop Fleet, because these people came from all over England. This fleet contained people who were basically strangers to each other, and they didn't have the common culture of the people of the Mary and John. While many of this fleet were nervous at undertaking this voyage, the experienced seamen in the Mary and John were not. The Mary and John landed at Nantasket in 1630. Initially, they underwent hardship, but then settled in Mattapan, later renamed Dorchester. These were farmers and had brought their own cattle. Luckily, this part of Massachusetts was deemed fit to support cattle. Over the next 5 years, ships continued to arrive. By 1635, the town of Dorchester had granted land to over 130 individuals. The amount of land needed for cattle was obviously more than was needed for subsistence farming, and the population boom strained the land. Settlers had known about land in the Connecticut River Valley for a while, and there was talk about moving there. However, they needed permission to leave Massachusetts Bay, and that was not easy to obtain. Finally, in 1635, authorities granted their permission. In the fall of that year, 60 men and women made the trek to the Connecticut River Valley. While they did have provisions and their livestock, they journeyed late in the year and were unable to plant crops until the following spring. As a result, supplies ran low. Together with a harsh winter and inadequate shelter, this set the stage for some dying of illness, and one even drowned. They ended up making their way back to Massachusetts Bay and attempted to colonize this area again in the spring. They were successful this time, but they had to share the land with another claimant, the Plymouth colony. By this time, Plymouth transplants had already settled and built a trading post. Plymouth colony had also granted land to Sir Richard Saltonstall, who sent his representatives to prepare for his arrival. At least 16 of these eventually settled in Windsor. They swore conformity to the Church of England before they departed. The Plymouth Party, Saltonstall Group, and Massachusetts Bay colonists dwelt together until the Pequot War started in 1637, when the Plymouth Party left to defend their former home. The remaining parties joined forces and went to an area of town blockaded by densely packed logs. This soon became the town center and was kept as a shelter just in case of another Indian War. 2 years after this, spring snowmelt brought floods that destroyed some homes, crops, and a bridge. The town replaced the bridge with a ferry, and people rebuilt their homes on higher ground. This successfully established the town of Windsor, which purchased the land rights from the Plymouth Company, and the land transferred to the Dorchester and Saltonstall settlers. The Dorchester group, who settled in Windsor, were primarily from the West Country of England, making them close-knit. Remember, they had a shared religion and subculture. Of the 54 families that immigrated to Windsor, 40 of the heads of the families were from this area in England. Aside from needing more land for their cattle, other factors motivated them to move and had to do with their shared heritage. They stood out from other Massachusetts-based settlers who mostly came from East Anglia. They were also less radical and kept their ties to the Church of England. However, there were problems right out of the gate between the Dorchester settlers and the Saltonstall group. Roger Ludlow told Stiles from the Saltonstall group in no uncertain terms that Stiles and his group were to stay off the land granted to Saltonstall 4 years earlier. I know this is a bit of a weird place to end, but hopefully it'll become clear why I'm ending right here in the next episode. Basically, they had to write to Massachusetts Bay to settle this little dispute. Some of you may be wondering why the Connecticut settlers needed to write back to the Massachusetts Bay Colony to get this dispute resolved. At this time, Connecticut was considered part of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, and the governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony was John Winthrop. Well, friends, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, press the subscribe button. And if you want to know when I come out with new content, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. All social media links are in the description, including the source that I used for this video. Also, if you have already subscribed, please make sure you are still subscribed. YouTube sometimes unsubscribes people. Also, please leave comments in the comment section. Not only do I love hearing from you, but it also triggers the YouTube algorithm. Also keep in mind that I choose my comment of the week on my Saturday live streams from my edited content. Keep learning and searching for truth. Here are a few videos from my library. If you have not watched them yet, go ahead and watch them and tell me what you think. Until next time, friends, stay safe and goodbye.